Take control of the numbers and supercharge your small business with Xero. That's Xero. With our easy-to-use accounting software with automation and reporting features, you'll spend less time on manual tasks and more time understanding how your business is doing. 87% of surveyed U.S. customers agree Xero helps improve financial visibility. Search Xero with an X or visit Xero.com/ACAST to start your 30-day free trial. Conditions apply.
When you've got too many ideas and too little time, that's when you need Wix for your website. Wix helps business owners, like you and me, get more done without burning out. It's packed with AI tools that actually make running your business online easier. Build a full site just by talking with AI. Get an AI agent to manage your sales and marketing, or work like a 10-person team, even if it's just you. Try it for yourself at Wix.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host. And on this episode, you might notice there's a little bit of a difference in my voice. Maybe you notice, maybe you don't. My old preamp, the Wave XLR, yesterday, it didn't die, but it's having some issues. When I was recording the Thanksgiving special with Steve and Allison Sheridan, Allison kept saying, well, now you're too quiet and now you're too loud. And I was like, well, that's weird. I wonder if it's maybe something with Riverside, which is what I use to record those kind of episodes. And then over the last 3 episodes, I've noticed that it's happening more and more, with all of the Tesla episodes. And I was like, well, that's probably not a coincidence, that there's probably something to that. Troubleshooted, a little bit here and there, and I found that if I unplugged the Wave XLR and then plugged it back in, everything seemed to work okay. But I would have to do that a couple of different times, and I was like, maybe it's just time to replace this. So if you're looking for a good deal right now, you can get the Vocaster 2, which is by Focusrite, made by Focusrite. I think it was like $70. And that gives you the ability to record 2 different people at the same time. Little word of warning, though, you need to have a 1/4-inch jack or adapter for a 1/4-inch jack to plug your headphones in. And I got this yesterday, the Vocaster yesterday, and I was really excited to record because I had a show all prepped and ready to go. And I didn't have, I did have the correct adapter, but it's the kind that you screw in, and that's not how my headphones are set up. My monitors are set up for that, my in-ear monitors, and I wasn't able to use it. And I found one that I could possibly use, and as soon as I plugged it in, it fell apart. So it's kind of been a comedy of errors the last couple of days in terms of prepping for this podcast. But so far, I'm pretty happy with the Vocaster 2. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what everybody else's opinions are on this, and we'll kind of go from there. Now, in the meantime, I continued to add content to this episode. Initially, it was like, I don't know, my typical 3 to 4 pages of notes, and we are currently sitting at 7 pages of notes. I just kept finding new things to talk about. So hopefully you will enjoy our show today. Very little Tesla talk, mostly just EV and general talk. So let's go ahead and jump in. First up, Aptera is getting a little bit closer to production. Aptera is the 3-wheeled vehicle that's technically classified as a motorcycle. It's got solar panels on the top. We've talked about this. This is the whole reason why I started this podcast, was because that Aptera. I saw an Aptera video and I was like, I want to own that vehicle. I probably won't, but maybe someday. Maybe I'll buy a used one or whatever. But yeah, I thought Aptera was amazing, and they're a little bit closer to production. They still need about $65 million more in funding to get into low volume production. Aptera did last month merge with a SPAC, a special acquisitions company. And so now you can buy stock in Aptera if you want to do that. I only mention this because from what I understand, just because you merge with a SPAC doesn't mean you get an influx of cash. Usually, I believe the way that it works, or the way they understand that it works, is that the SPAC gets most of that. So Aptera is, currently in this validation vehicle assembly line phase of production. And once they validate that, they can start low volume production, but they still need another $65 million. And just because they went public a month ago, they did not, from my understanding, get infused with a bunch of cash by doing that. Now, maybe at some point in time, as more people buy their stock and stuff, or as their stock price rises, that'll be a different story. Next up, RJ Scaringe, the founder and CEO of Rivian, has just landed a performance-based deal for his pay package worth $4.6 billion in stock. And based on Elon's pay package, how does this guy eat? How does he feed his family? $4.6 billion if he does everything right. But how will he continue to survive and be able to feed his family? I don't know. It's so little. It's such a small pay package, $4.6 billion. As part of his compensation deal, his salary will jump to $2 million a year. Again, broke. This guy's broke. But he's also been granted about $36.5 million of shares at $15.22, and that would round out the rest of his pay package. Now, he does have to hit certain targets before he can get this money. One of those is, the stock needs to be, $40 to $140 per share over the next 10 years. I'm not exactly sure what it says $40 to $140 per share. I'm not exactly sure, if it's less. If it's $40, he gets X amount of stock. And if it's $140, he gets Y amount of stock. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because we're talking about such small, inconsequential numbers of $4.6 billion. I don't even know why I brought this up, to be honest with you. He also needs to meet new income and cash flow goals within the next 7 years. And, no milestones, no payouts, I guess. It's all performance-based. Rivian says the pay package is designed to keep Scaringe as the company enters a critical phase. This guy founded the company. Elon is technically a founder of Tesla, but he didn't really found the company. He was an early investor and then sued to get the founder title. RJ is actually a founder. Like, this was his dream. I don't know that he is going to be going anywhere. So the idea that it's to keep him around seems a little silly to me, just because he does seem very dedicated to the company. The focus of this critical phase that Rivian is talking about is a smaller R2 SUV and the R3 models. Of course, the goal is to reach profitability. Rivian estimates shareholders could see $153 billion in value if Scaringe is able to hit every single target. And just a little context, this replaces Rivian's old $6 billion, Scaringe's old $6 billion pay package that was set up in 2021. So he's actually making, from what it sounds like, a little bit less money. But the deal is structured closer to what Elon's deal is structured without the, $1 trillion pay package. But the way he gets his money, it's closer to what Elon has to do in terms of performance targets. Obviously not at the same scale. Rivian recently also, just, FYI, laid off 600 people in October to cut costs ahead of the R2 production. Let's see, in Q3 2025, we haven't heard the Rivian earnings call yet, but in Q2 2025, Rivian hit a record sales of 13,201 units, which is up 32% year over year. But they expect a little bit of a dip because the federal tax credit expired. And Scaringe told investors, and we'll hear this at some point, that the R2, they're still targeting the $45,000 to $50,000 range for that starting price of the R2, which I think is great. All right, next up, we have recommendations, 2 stories recommended by Mark, who's a member of the Kilowatt community. And he always sends me, once a month, little updates of what's going on in the EV markets in Europe as well as the UK. So we're going to start off with the UK. Battery electric vehicles are carrying the UK market, even if overall sales have barely moved. The new car market in the UK only made a 0.5%, so 0.5% increase in October. So in the UK, they sold 144,948 new cars. Battery electric vehicles were 25.4% of those October sales, which is a little bit short. I guess the UK has a zero emissions vehicle mandate of 28% target, and it's a little short of that. Year to date, battery electric vehicle sales are up 28.9% in the UK, which is, 28.9% year over year. So this time last year in 2024, but we still have 2 months left. Right now, there have been a total of 386,244 EVs sold. In the UK, some of the reasons cited why EVs are kind of getting this nice little bump are car maker discounts. And there's a government grant that's been revived. And the UK government says that 30,000 plus buyers have used that grant since it's been revived. Next up, we're going to talk about France's EV market for October 2025. Battery electric vehicles made up 31.1% of all new cars sold in France, which is up 23.5% from a year ago. So that's pretty impressive. So the way that this makes up, because the 31% are not just pure battery electric vehicles, that is made up of the plug-in hybrid vehicles, which is 6.7%. And then the remaining is 24.4%, and that's full battery electric vehicles. So that's pretty good. Battery electric sales have jumped 63% year over year to 34,000 units in France. And that growth is fueled by France's new social leasing program, which helps drivers get into an affordable EV lease. And I thought this was interesting. The top selling BEVs, I guess, are the Renault 5, which is the hands down the most leased vehicle of 4,551 units. The Peugeot E208 has tripled its usual sales. It's at 2,436 units. And the Renault Scenic, which is not part of that leasing program, it sits at 1,670 units. Their strong performers are the Peugeot E2008, the Renault Megane, the Renault 4, and the Hyundai Inster. So pretty good. Overall car sales rose 3% year over year, and almost entirely those sales were driven by EVs. So that is fantastic. I guess sales and leases.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, and with Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your favorites and still hit your health goals. From breakfast bagels and meal prepped enchiladas to mouth-watering burgers and cheesy noodles. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at HERO.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
At Optum, we're transforming the pharmacy system, bringing real-time pricing transparency and saving consumers over $1 billion last year. We serve 62 million Americans, not just with medicine, but with guidance, support, and care tailored to every unique need. Because at Optum, we understand behind every prescription is a person. Visit Optum.com/redefineRx to see how we're redefining pharmacy care for good.
Wix is the website builder that just keeps on giving. It's giving...
I just built my whole site in under an hour.
It's giving...
I actually made that?
Whoa.
It's giving...
Our sales are through the roof.
So whether you need help expressing yourself or just need something to make your life easier, Wix has you covered. Try it out at Wix.com.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success, like your enrollment specialist who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Next up, we are going to roll into the United States, and let me get to my spot here. Now that the EV federal tax credit is behind us, what lies ahead for EV companies here in the U.S., more specifically legacy automakers? There's a spoiler alert to this. EV growth has not stalled. It has not declined. It has grown, but it has slowed, right? I guess EV adoption has grown but slowed, not EV growth. So let's start with Ford, because we have a couple of updates. And this is from Autoblog. The F-150 Lightning, the electric version of the best-selling pickup in the United States, was supposed to usher in Ford's battery-powered future. It was supposed to, make Ford a power player in the EV industry. It was announced in 2021. It had the beginning, the starting model, the base model had a 250-mile range, and it was going to start just under $40,000. Well, that model's way gone. But in its place is a 300-mile range version at the base, and it starts at $54,000. So unfortunately, Lightning sales have stalled after billions of dollars in investments into Ford's EV program. The company has racked up nearly $13 billion in losses since 2023. And I believe that includes all of their current EVs. So if you include the electric van that they have, the cargo van, the utility van, the Mach-E, as well as the Lightning. So it's not just the Lightning's $13 billion in losses. But the rumor is that Ford is debating whether or not to cancel the Lightning altogether. Now, of course, Ford is not out of the EV business altogether, because, they built a whole new factory where they're promising a $30,000 pickup truck. So we'll see where that goes. Our next legacy automaker, because it's not just Ford, is General Motors. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but they ended the production of the BrightDrop electric vans because fleet buyers just weren't interested. Even though sales in 2025 were steadily on the increase, GM sold less than 10,000 total of those BrightDrop vans, and it just didn't seem like that was something that they want to continue doing. It does seem a little weird that they just didn't sell the BrightDrop van, because they bought it. I mean, they could easily sell it back to the original founders, or sell it to somebody else who might want to do something with it if, GM doesn't want to be in that business. But, what are you going to do? It's pocket change for that company. And then we have Stellantis. This year, Stellantis ended plans for the fully electric Ram 1500. They went with a E-Rev model instead, like the hybrid with the gasoline generator. The Ram 1500 Rev, again, will... Stellantis says it's the truck that buyers actually want. We'll see. I don't think Stellantis, at least their American companies, know at all what people want to buy when it comes to electric vehicles. Just to kind of give you an idea, Dodge cut its new electric Charger Daytona lineup down to one single model, and it's the 670 horsepower Scat Pack. And the reason they gave is tariff issues. But the reason I would say is they're just Ford, Chrysler, and Ram, not Ford, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram are just not very good at EVs. They just haven't had much success. Jeep's having a little bit of success, which rounds out the American Stellantis companies. But the other three I don't know that they're either not serious about EVs, or they grossly misunderstood the market and what they needed to do to bring a compelling vehicle to the market. But I did, just kind of going back to that Dodge Charger, I went to Dodge's website, and right now it still shows that they're selling the RT Charger as well as the Scat Pack. So I don't know if they're phasing out the RT, or if maybe the article that I read, maybe they just didn't, maybe they misunderstood what Dodge was doing. I doubt it. Autoblog's pretty good. So I'd guess that maybe they're phasing it out. The RT starts at $60,000, so not a cheap vehicle. The Scat Pack starts at $74,000, and you can certainly add features to get that up over the price of $74,000 pretty easily if you wanted to. But anyway, I digress. Stellantis, made its bed here in America. I don't know what to say. They came out with the Ram Rev, the in 2023 at CES. They made this big announcement, and I was there. I wasn't at the announcement, but I saw the truck, and it looked amazing. It was an amazing looking truck. Of course, that truck probably would start over $100,000 if Dodge were to Ram were actually to make it. I keep saying Dodge because it used to be Dodge. But, ever since then, they've just kind of progressively made updates, and the vehicle isn't getting better, it's getting worse. It's not what they promised. And then we have Nissan, which has halted sales of the 2026 Aria crossover here in the US, and they blamed tariffs, but they also said that they wanted to concentrate on the Nissan Leaf and reassess and maybe bring the Aria back in 2027. But you also have, the loss of the federal tax credits and things like that, and slowing demand is one of the other things that they said. So we'll see where Nissan goes. And then, Kia paused the launch of the EV4. Acura discontinued the ZDX, its first EV, which, my neighbor has one. I think it looks nice. I have a friend who has one. He does not like the way that it drives, but he thinks it looks nice. Genesis quietly stopped producing the electrified G80, which is a higher end Genesis, even though Genesis is the high end brand for Hyundai. The G80 is a nice car. Mercedes-Benz is rethinking its EV strategy. They're thinking about no longer taking orders for the EQE or EQS in the US, and possibly ending production of both models by 2026. We'll see where that goes. And then EV-only automakers here in the U.S. have definitely had some issues as well. Tesla's Cybertruck deliveries plunged 63% in the third quarter. The project lead for the Cybertruck, Siddhant Aswathi, hopefully I'm saying that right, has left Tesla after 8 years. And as a coincidence, the Model Y program manager, Emmanuel Lamacchia, also left the company after 8 years of service on the same day that Siddhant left. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a coincidence. Maybe they're thinking about starting something together. If I had to put my conspiracy hat on, that's where I would land. And then back to the Cybertruck, something I found was interesting is year-to-date sales for the Cybertruck is around 16,000 vehicles, which is down 38% year over year. Elon initially promised around 200,000 units per year, and we're currently sitting at 16,000. I don't think demand. I love the Cybertruck. Listen, I'm not hating on the Cybertruck. I do not enjoy that the Cybertruck is seen as a symbol of what people think Elon Musk stands for or what Tesla stands for. I don't love that because it's honestly just a vehicle, and some of the people who bought it because it looked neat. And for whatever reason, more so, it seems like more so than owning a Model Y, X, Y, 3. It's probably just because it's the latest Tesla vehicle. But if somebody doesn't like Elon and they don't like the politics here in the United States, some of those Cybertruck owners are getting harassed for just owning a Cybertruck, which I don't think is fair. But I like the Cybertruck a lot. I don't want it to go away. I take no pleasure in it not selling well, but it seems maybe like it's a little bit more of a niche product. I thought it was going to be huge. I wanted one, but it's also extremely expensive, even in its cheapest form currently. It is far from the $40,000 starting price and, $48,000 mid price and $60,000 at the upper end. It's far from that. It is not even close to what what we were promised way back when it was announced. Anyway, let's move from one truck manufacturer to another. Rivian is in a similar spot as Tesla. They're projecting a 30% drop in deliveries. And, eventually it sounds like they're cutting around, like I said, around 600 people, which is going to get them to around 15,000 employees total. Now, the auto industry is not retreating, on EVs. It's recalibrating. And 2026 could make for an interesting year because Kia has the EV3 compact SUV that's due out late 2026. Sony and Honda's partnership, the e-mobility or Sony and Honda mobility partnership that they have for their cars, which is, it's escaping me what their car's name is. Hold on, I'm going to look it up. Let's see here. Sony, Honda, mobility car. Afeela. That's right. I knew it was a creepy name. Afeela. Their car is, due to come out next year. It's being built in Ohio. It is a luxury model and it is priced as such. It's going to start at just under $90,000. And then I mentioned this, but Rivian has the crossover SUV, the R2, that's supposed to be out sometime next year. Hopefully start closer to $45,000, but between $45,000 and $50,000 is what we're looking at for price there. Lucid is also prepping their mid-size SUV, which they say is going to cost around $50,000. And then Tesla, they have the more affordable rear-wheel drive models of the Model Y and Model 3, and those are starting, the standards are starting right around $40,000. We'll see what happens as tariffs and all this other stuff kind of flows through. Hyundai also cut the base price of the Ioniq 5 down to $35,000. I don't know if that's taken effect yet, but that's their plan. So I think that's great. Chevy's bringing back the Bolt. Nissan brought back the Leaf. Those are both around $30,000. And then we have Slate Auto, which is, the bare bones pickup truck company that is, seems like infinitely customizable. Two-door electric pickup truck, but you can do a lot with it. That's supposed to be out sometime around 2026. But it starts at $27,000. And then, I just want to posit that maybe the EV future doesn't look like what we thought it was going to be. I did mention that the Ram 1500 Rev would be a a battery-powered car, but it would have a gasoline generator. Scout Motors is doing the same thing. Toyota is doing something interesting with their Hilux truck. So the Toyota Hilux truck comes in the following flavors. They have diesel, gasoline, hydrogen fuel, and now electric. Now, the electric version of this truck is going to be all-wheel drive. It's going to be able to carry or have a payload of 1,576 pounds. It'll be able to tow 3,525 pounds, so not great numbers. It's going to have a 59.2 kilowatt hour battery and a range. If you look at Europe's WLTP test, it's going to have a range of 149 miles. Now, if we're thinking about things here in the U.S., Europe's tests are typically a little bit more generous, we'll say, when it comes to range. If we look at the EPA test in the U.S., that would translate to about 126 miles, although it's not coming to the U.S., but it is coming to select markets. And I would assume those markets are the the markets that currently sell Helixes. But I think that's Hilux is Hilux. Hilux? It's Hilux. Hilux, I think. Anyway, I don't care. I don't really like Toyota. I'm only saying this because maybe we're looking at the EV industry all wrong. Maybe people really don't want all electric cars with 300 miles of range. Maybe they want a car that has, a gas generator, or maybe they want a truck that has low range but is also affordable. So we'll see. We don't actually have a price, so we don't know if this is affordable or not. But with 149 miles of range, it's not likely to cost as much as a Rivian. However, I do think that Toyota is sometimes a little proud of their vehicles, so it might cost a little bit more than what another car that had 150 miles of range, but it's probably going to be a good car. I think 2026 is going to be interesting. But I do have one additional story to get to.
Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. So skip replacing every carb with cauliflower and indulge in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner time favorites while still hitting your goals. From breakfast bagels and meal prepped enchiladas to mouth-watering burgers and cheesy noodles. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's fall25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success. Like your enrollment specialist, who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
And that story has to do with maybe the headlines that the EV industry is dying. Because I just read to you, a whole bunch of stuff about some okay things happening in the EV space and some, maybe scary things if you're an EV enthusiast happening in the EV space. But this next article comes from Jameson Dow of Electrek. And EV sales are still growing, despite, 2 years of headlines of hearing that the sales have slumped. And I've seen headlines nearly on the same day that said that the EV sales are plummeting and also EVs are the best that it's ever been. Maybe not the same day, same time period. It just kind of depends on who's writing the story. But according to Jameson, EV sales are up 23% in 2025. That's global sales, and that's just not here in the U.S. because the U.S. Sales are maybe not so great when we're looking at the latest numbers. And that up, that increase in 23% in 2025, that's only based off of 10 months of data. So it's not like even that many months. So RHO Motion has give us a little bit of an update here. So if we just look at Europe as a whole, as a market, they're up 32% in Europe, EV sales. And I did find he just added this as a little note. But Norway currently has 98% EV adoption, so not a lot of numbers. We don't have a lot of room for growth at 98%. Once Norway gets that extra 2%, it's all EV sales in Norway. But China, EV sales in China are up 22%. EV sales in the rest of the world, not including the U.S., is up 48%. And then the U.S., we've had a 4% increase here in the U.S. Recently we saw a 38% drop or decrease in EV sales because, no tax credit. But again, I fully imagine or feel really comfortable that we will be, that those numbers will improve over time. It's just everybody went out and bought an EV to take advantage of those tax credits. Not everybody, a lot of people did. So there's going to be a little bit of time where sales are going to be sluggish a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. Automakers might be because they had a big rush on sales and then it's going to be quiet for a little bit. But for me, it's not something I'm super concerned about. The EV sales dip here in the U.S. there was similar dips in Germany and China, and they rebounded. So that is something to kind of take a look at. And then Bloomberg, there was a Bloomberg article that showed that gas cars, sales of new gas cars, I should say, are actually declining, and they've been declining since 2018. They peaked in 2017, and they're currently down 25% since then. Hybrids and EVs are on the rise as combustion cars continue to decline. So, yeah, I mean, are we where we would like to be? That's a lot of W's. Are we where we would like to be? Are we in the spot that we would like to be? No. I think I would love, starting this in 2016, I genuinely thought we'd be further along than we are, but we're not dead. The EV industry is not dead. It's growing and continuing to grow. Eventually we will hit a spot where the EV industry can't grow anymore. We'll hit maximum saturation. But as it stands right now, we're like the little train chugging up the mountain. So I think I can. I think that'll be the show art. Anyway, folks, that is it for me. I hope you all had a wonderful episode. I hope you enjoyed it, is what I meant to say. I am a little bit loopy, so apologize about that. I have to go in for a colonoscopy in less than an hour, and I haven't eaten in 2 days effectively. So maybe my brain isn't right exactly where it needs to be. But if you haven't gotten a colonoscopy, one, the prep and the other stuff isn't as bad as you think it is. Based on my experience today, I can say that confidently. And two, you don't want to get colon cancer, so go get checked. Next week, this is the weird place to put a plug for next episode. Next episode, we're going to talk to Veronica Wright, who is Electrified Veronica. She has she's a theoretical physicist, just a really smart person. And we got to nerd out over batteries a little bit. So that'll be Friday's episode. It's already been recorded. I just need to post it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. If you want to email me, it's Bodie, BODIE at 918digital.com. If you want to find me on X, it's 918digital. And if you want to find me on LinkedIn, which I don't do much, but I probably do most of the stuff on LinkedIn than anywhere else. You can just search for Bodie Grimm, and that's where you will find me. All right, everybody. I will talk to you on Friday.
Take control of the numbers and supercharge your small business with Xero. That's Xero. With our easy-to-use accounting software with automation and reporting features, you'll spend less time on manual tasks and more time understanding how your business is doing. 87% of surveyed U.S. customers agree Xero helps improve financial visibility. Search Xero with an X or visit Xero.com/ACAST to start your 30-day free trial. Conditions apply.
Holiday scammers are smart, but you're smarter. From AI-generated deepfakes to urgent payment requests, scammers are finding new ways to trick even the most careful holiday shoppers. Scams can start anywhere, a text, email, or social post, and quickly evolve to schemes designed to steal your money or information. Scammers might pose as charities, pet sellers, or even a romantic partner to gain your trust. If something feels off, it probably is. Keep your guard up, pause before you pay, and always pay it safe. Protect yourself by using strong passwords and turning on two-factor authentication. Check messages only through official channels and be cautious with unexpected or urgent requests. If you spot suspicious activity, contact verified support. This holiday season, the Financial Technology Association, in partnership with Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, want to help you stay one step ahead. For more tips, visit smarterthanscams.org. Scammers lie, you verify.
Your business is one of a kind, so your website should be too. With Wix, it's easy. Almost too easy to create a website that's perfectly yours. Just tell AI what kind of site you want to build or choose from thousands of templates. Change whatever you want, whenever you want, and get everything you need to start running your business your way. No matter what you sell or what you aspire to be, you can do it all yourself on Wix.